I'm not 100% sure that there ever has been not just a Nikon Z lens more attractive than this, but any Nikon lens ever. This is just such an incredible looking lens that, I mean, I can't say enough good things about it. It is just so good looking. Now, obviously, looks do not matter at all. It's all about how it performs, but credit where credit is due. It is just super duper attractive. And that is, of course, the Nikkor Z 28-135 f4 power zoom lens. Now, I'm not a video guy. You guys know that. Also, you see this? That was a real dadgum smart, Zach. Got a mic on there. I screwed up my back very badly. Old injury comes back to haunt me sometimes. So I am doing this video a little bit differently today. So some things you should know right off the bat is it doesn't feel that heavy in the hand. On the front of the camera, however, it feels extremely, extremely front heavy. Not so much that you feel like it's going to rip the mount out of your camera. And so that's not why I have this tripoded on the actual lens foot itself. I'm doing that just because I want you to be able to see how good this lens looks, just kind of standing on its own here. Gold ring, fantastic. It also does have a lens hood. It's absolutely massive. Something really cool, it does have this little window here so you can get access to your filters. It's pretty cool. But it is ghastly and heinous. It's like if there was no hole, you could eat like ramen noodles out of that beast. And that's what it looks like on there. Looks like a like a cartoon musket. And it does have like the little press to release. I like that a lot. And I beg the audience permission to add that another reason why I have it set up like this today is because of my horrific back. And while this isn't a super heavy setup, it is not nothing and not doctor's orders, but I put myself on very, very, very tight restrictions because I don't want to make my back any worse. So what about the feel? Well, the function buttons that we have here, they are nice and clicky. And there are two of them, one on top here and then one down here, as you can see. Now this is set up, since it's a cine lens, that's why this zoom ring looks the way it does. Although I would say I would enjoy if all lenses had that, because I love how grippy and intentional that is. And then right here, of course, we have our focus ring right here. And then if we look on the sides here, this is where we get our power zoom switch here, which should also be able to be set up in the back of the camera to be used with buttons. So if you go into your menu, under category F, that's controls, we scroll down here to assign power zoom buttons. That's on the Z8, that would be F12. And you want to make sure that your plus and minus buttons are on, but you can also turn those off. The default seems like it was set to 3. Let's try this at 0 and see what it looks like. Nice and smooth. And also keep in mind that if you do the toggle button, it seems to kind of just run at 3. I'm sure there's a way to change that, but 3 is actually what I think is kind of like the best. So +3. That's a good speed. And it goes all the way up to 5. Let's see how fast 5 is. Pull my exposure down a little. And that would be about where it maxes out. And let's check out our focus speed. Just a side note, that bokeh looks so good. Whoa, very, very nice. But a note on the focusing, it is incredibly fast. I want to add, I'm going to put my finger right here, and I will correlate this to the Atomos footage. This Nikon absolutely nailed this zoom. Now, this is all, you know, by wire here. This isn't an actual physical moving of the zooming apparatus, right? This is the absolute smoothest of any Nikon lens. It is so creamy smooth, and it is so precise, and there's like no lag. This is the closest I've seen in any Z lens to an actual physical zoom. That's insane. It is so precise. The same goes for the focus ring. It is just so clean and smooth. I'm really impressed by just how this lens works and how it functions, just like on a technical, from a technical space. Like, it's just so good. Like, Nikon absolutely nailed this. Super impressive. Wow, I haven't even gotten to the images yet. You gotta do focus noise. Ooh. Here's the thing, it's not totally silent, it goes, but it is so fast that it's incredibly hard to hear. But it does make a little bit of a whir. Now the power zoom does make some noise whenever you do it manually. Let's try it. Let's try it using the button here. You can actually feel it too. I don't know if that's a problem for video folks. It does make some noise. It's not like incredibly loud, but I imagine somebody using this probably isn't using like an on-camera microphone, right? So I don't imagine that you would pick it up on like a microphone that somebody like a documentary filmmaker or a solo cinematographer, like they're not gonna probably pick it up. All right, let's go ahead and get the red. This is our classic red saturation test. We will get our blue on our trusty lighter. Not sure what happened to our little yellow divot tool, but we've got some yellow over there that we'll try out the yellow on, and the green, of course, across the yard. Our red through the viewfinder or on the rear screen looks quite nice. And actually, since I've got 135 to play with here, I can zoom. Actually, I'm gonna power zoom it right in. God, this is fun. On our blue. Blue looks a little more saturated than normal, so that's okay. I see some yellow over there in the distance that we can hit. I see some little flowers out here too. Might hit one of those. I would say our yellow looks pretty spot on. It's not over saturated, not as saturated probably as the red and the blue, at least through the viewfinder. But we often find that that is not the case once we get it into Lightroom. Did I just hit you, Merritt? I'm sorry. Felt like I did. And now, of course, we need to do black and white ability. I'm not gonna move that. I'm just gonna walk over there and do it. I kind of just want to fire one across the yard, I think. Get some of the colors. We got a little bit of blue going on. At least through the viewfinder, the contrast looks really nice. All right, so now we are here in Lightroom. Right off the bat, reds look absolutely awesome. It's common with Nikon lenses. This looks just slightly past natural, right? It's almost dead on, which I like. I like a little bit of extra saturation. The blue looks just slightly past saturation, so we're looking good on saturation so far. Love the contrast of this lens. It's very rich tones. Love it. Pretty sharp too. We'll see more on sharpness in a bit. Yellows are kind of dead on. They're not undersaturated. They're dead on. Greens kind of look barely past saturated, which is okay. Sometimes your greens can get away from you on wet days like this and look more neon. That's not the case here. I tell you what, I like the sharpness of this lens. It's not, I wouldn't give it a 3 in my scoring like some other lenses, but On some of the other lenses that do get 3s, it's where I want 3s. And this, I mean, being what this lens is, now I'll say this is a 2, not a 3. It's not unsharp. It's not even sharp enough. It's beyond sharp enough. It's just not like super incredibly sharp, which is kind of exactly what you'd want if you were doing video and stuff, I think. So I really like what I'm seeing here. And if we bring all the colors together, looks, I still agree with myself. It's just slightly beyond saturated. So I would probably give this like a 2. A little bit of vignetting at this is at 130. A little bit of vignetting, that's okay. And then of course, this is doing what I always do. This is closer to appropriate exposure. I like to go a little bit under, right? So this is the difference between 2/50th of a second and 400th of a second. I like this better. A little underexposed because it makes things a little more rich. When you're testing, however, you want to test it more like this, right? Because this is what the lens is supposed to do. This is supposed to be appropriate exposure, but you can push your lenses beyond where they are inherently as far as beauty goes just by, you know, underexposing a little bit. And now we get to the black and white ability test. These are shot at the exact same parameters. I think I just like this one better. And for black and white ability, we know the rules. We just hit the B and W button. It's just okay. I think it's really just middle of the road, like a fair 2. Not a lot of lenses that you see that might be a 2 on my scoring system on my website at zwadephoto.com/the Optic Explorer. They lean more towards 2.7, 2.5. I would say this is right at 2. It's not an unimpressive 1. It's not like a 1.8. I don't do decimal points in my scoring. So if it's a 2.7, it's just going to get a 2. And I just know in the back of my head that it was closer to 3 than it was to 2. But to just keep things from being ridiculous and point this and point that, I just round it to the lowest because there are several lenses that are definitely 3s. You know, some stuff that kind of looks a little more like this in black and white, you know, a little more punchy, a little more intertonal detail there. And there's a lot more of those in the 3 category. And so I don't fool around with the points or whatever, because it takes a lot to have awesome black and white ability in my book. We'll say in color though, this is just a raw image and it's so rich. There's a lot of contrast. I love the separation, the fall off to the background. Like, look how isolated this is. I imagine if I was closer and we have images to do that, we're going to see a beautiful transition to the out of focus area. But for what it's worth, black and white ability, we're just going to call it an even 2. You have one shot across the yard. This is at 28mm. Still a little bit of vignetting. I think the vignetting is pretty consistent as you zoom. Yeah, it looks to be about the same. So if it's going to be there, at least it doesn't like, you don't get more vignette as you zoom in. So that's pretty good. Yeah, sharpness is just beyond, it's beyond good enough. It's not exceedingly sharp. And again, I would just argue, well, I don't even want to say it's not exceedingly sharp. It's very sharp, but I would just want to argue that that's probably exactly what you want out of this lens if you're using it the way that Nikon intended, which is as like a cinema camera, you know? And we just fired off this one shot of Marin here. She's very cute. We slightly missed focus on that a little bit, but that's okay. Since this is a cine-focused lens, I wanted to try my hand at a little cine, so enjoy Marin flopping around in the backyard. Okay, so now it's time for me to punish my back because I can't take some real shots with that. Now I'm gonna do just a little short walk around, and I'll see you in Lightroom. So before I start these little play around images, I have to admit that although Nikon designed this as like a video lens, a cine lens, this lens was a ton of fun to just like actually take photos with. I love the contrast of this. It's not like mind-splitting sharp, but there's so much detail because there's so much contrast. A lot of like little intertonal detail. Transition to the out of focus area is super smooth. Super, super smooth. There's no super sharp edges. It's just really gradual and smooth. I really like it. This is raw, so let's give this a little play. Like the colors and get a little silly with it. I did another one just at like a different angle. Let's just like give that nothing but contrast. Like if we give that like a ton of contrast, looks cool. Tried a little shallow depthy stuff. This isn't a fantastic lens for, you know, the shallow depth of field style of photography that I do all the time. But, you know, I like black tar heroic. So I tried this lens with animal eye tracking, and there were a bunch that kind of missed the eye, but that's okay. This one is nice and sharp right in here. The exposure is absolutely ruined, but yeah, I biffed that one on the exposure. Oh goodness, is she cute. It's a pretty good lens, y'all. Pretty good lens. I really enjoyed, like, even outside of just like how fun it is to shoot, because it is extremely fun to shoot, it's just a good lens. It's a good lens. I don't know why Nikon wouldn't call this like an S line unless they're just trying to differentiate. They're kind of video focused lenses, like blatantly so. Like Nikon said, this is for like solo documentary filmmaking or whatever. Outside of that, it's just a good optic. This one, it did get the eye on this one because she's like not moving at all. That's good. Very, very, very awesome. She's adorable. Nice, nice, nice. Yeah, she's so shiny. She has such a nice coat. And this is such a nice lens. Oh, that one we finally got the exposure right on. I haven't done nothing to that one yet. All right, then we did some kind of up close stuff here. Good sharpness. Good detail. If we get in super at 300%, it starts to look a little soft, but you know, who cares? Little yellow flower popping up here. Was that dandelion or something? I don't know my flowers. It's a very good optic. A tiny bit of fringing. Okay, now we're getting into kind of the stuff that I normally shoot, you know, this broken light coming through. And I'd argue this is just a good lens for photography. Looks great. Love the colors. There we go. I like it. I like it. I like it. I like it. Oh, yeah. I forgot I shot these. And it looks a little crazy if you get in at 300%, but, you know, them little tiny hairs, the light coming through and hitting those. Looks super cool. We need to stop this 300% stuff. Like I said, it's a 2 in my scoring on sharpness. So it's not sharp enough. It's past that. So that's good. Again, it's just a good optic. More light coming through and hitting these little hairs. I'm not even editing these because I think they're already great. Hit it with the old 1-2. Again, I don't want to do anything to this. It's plenty sharp. I love the little tiny hairs that it's grabbing coming off of the edge of the leaf, because the light is coming through from this way and hitting them against like a darker background. Like I kind of exposed for the background to make sure that it was really dark, because this was just so powerful of sunlight coming through that I was able to do this kind of thing. God, I love it. This is such a fun lens. And I didn't even do like a ton at like 28, and I love wide angle stuff. There's just nothing wide angle to shoot on this day. There was absolutely not a cloud in the sky. Otherwise I would have taken my broken back behind to the lake and done something with it. The reds just look great. The greens look great. I love it. It looks so good. The color's fantastic. Just a little bit of editing. This lens just looks good on its own. This is a raw image and it looks fantastic. I don't really like the background here, but the colors are really fantastic. In fact, no, we didn't miss focus. It just was down here for some reason. I was probably trying to get one of these pedals or something. But it's really detailed, really fantastic. I really enjoy it. Conclusion. I wish I knew how to appreciate this as a video person. I just simply don't, because I'm not like a video person. I can see the strengths of this if you are a video person, whether you're by yourself or with a crew, especially if you're by yourself. I just unfortunately don't have that kind of experience. What I can appreciate about this as a photographer is that it is just a good optic. While I don't know right now what my overall score would be, by the time you see this video, I will have the score at zwadephoto.com/theopticexplorer, and I'm guessing it's going to be pretty high. Even with the baggability, it's a little bit longer and it's a little bit wider, but I feel like it can't be a bad score because it's kind of what you expect out of something like this, and it does so much for its size, and the build quality feels great. There's more metal on it than you would find on other Z lenses. I just feel like Nikon really, really hit a home run on this, so I'm imagining, while I don't know now, that the overall score is going to be pretty good on this lens. Another final thought is just a ton of fun. And that's really what it's all about. We can peep the optics, and the optics of this happen to be really good. But even if they weren't, ton of fun in this versatility. And even in the small extent of video that you saw that I did do with very little experience in that kind of video, you know, I enjoyed doing it, even though I don't really know what I'm doing as far as video goes. It was fun to do it. And that says a lot more than, you know, whether it's super duper sharp or has super good contrast. You know, it's just a ton of fun. Nikon absolutely has a home run winner with this lens. It's fantastic. And then just look at it. Boy, is she handsome. If you're thinking about picking this lens up for yourself, use the link in the description. I get a 2% commission if you do so. I'm Z Wade, the Z Wade, and Z Wade Photo. Stay sharp, YouTube.